So Whoopi mops the floor at Trump on The View. She says, "You are going to jail, man." Hi, welcome to JOA. If you're new to my channel, please click subscribe and click the bell button so you'll be the first to know when I upload. I really appreciate it if you subscribe. You do click that bell button, baby, because it is free. And if it is free, it is for me. So watch this clip, and I'll come back with some more.
Is that the president's pardon power is really extensive. I wouldn't say it's exhaustive. Like, you can't pardon someone from impeachment, but there's no question. I think that you can issue a blanket pardon, even for crimes that were committed, maybe perhaps could be that haven't even been charged, that could be charged. So his power is pretty exhaustive. But the one thing he can't pardon for would be state crimes. He can only pardon really for federal crimes. So I would imagine that New York is still open to investigation. Florida is still open to investigation.
James is waiting.
Some of these, she really is. That's the Attorney General of New York. So I would imagine that his pardon power is not that exhaustive. The other thing I want to mention is that what is interesting to me is once you pardon someone like a Michael Flynn, that gives people immunity. So Michael Flynn could decide to turn against Trump and testify against him. So it's really not the best strategy. But I don't know that Trump has thought that through.
Why would he? But you also have a legal note. Do you have to wait? We have this legal note that you're supposed to. Do you need to read that? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So we all read it together?
Trump has repeatedly...
Go ahead, Sonny.
Trump has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing, saying investigations into his conduct in office and his business dealings are motivated by politics. He has also denied of sexual misconduct and affairs, saying payments were a personal matter, not a campaign expense.
Well, I think it's very exciting that, he can pardon himself federally, but there are all these people waiting. Letitia James is waiting with her little foot. She is patting that foot, waiting for him to make a step out, because he keeps saying he's going to run in 2024. You're not going to run if you're in jail, my friend. And that is something you must also think of. I'm just saying. We'll be right back. TikTok.
So one of the folks that Whoopi was talking about was New York Attorney General Letitia James, and she is the first black woman New York Attorney General, and she's preparing a substantial list of legal actions for a potential Biden administration to begin quickly reversing Trump administration initiatives, according to NBC News. She says we're preparing a list, and that list is long. We'll have a team of individuals working on reversing all of the bad regulations and laws that have been put forth. We will work with the Biden administration to ask them to file stays in a number of cases that are bending the courts in all across the country. So she is a Democratic state attorney general who's reviewing options to determine what actions, if any, state attorneys general will take should the election results be contested. And according to NBC News, in her second year as the top law enforcement official in New York, she's battled the Trump administration on everything from environmental regulations and immigration enforcement to its handling of the census. More recently, she also was involved in litigation over the post-surface slowdowns, with Trump being very controversial with the mail-in ballots, saying there's going to be some type of cheating going on. And so, meanwhile, because of the Trump organization's footprint in New York City, James has been at the forefront of legal action against Donald Trump family businesses. Her office year-long probe into Trump's charitable foundation led to its dissolution. She investigated into whether the president's business had inflated the value of its assets for the purpose of tax breaks and loans. Came to a head earlier this month when Eric Trump, this president's son, and the executive at his business sat for a pre-election disposition. Eric Trump did push back on having to testify before the election, but after a judge ruled against his effort, he agreed to sit for questioning on whether the Trump organization had committed fraud. He called the legal effort a continued political vendetta. So, and James basically said she could not get into the details of the testimony. saying that we're in the midst of discovery and that they're handling over documents that is ongoing. But she did say, as for Eric Trump's claim of political bias, something the president has repeatedly claimed about James and her predecessors in the office, the attorney general said she doesn't pay a lot of attention to all the noise and all the critics. She says, I keep hearing this. I know Eric Trump has accused me of bias. The NRA has accused me of bias, acknowledging a separate high-profile case her office is in the midst of with the NRA. So a number of elected officials have accused me of bias. Some Republican attorney generals have accused me of political bias. I just put my head down and just go to work. She says, again, politics is not an issue that I will tolerate in my office. It's based on allegations, primarily from individuals within Trump administration who have come forward and laid bare a pattern of illegality and misconduct, which requires an investigation on the parts of the regulators. Example, the New York State Office of Attorney General. So, one of the people that also came forward is Michael Cohen. You know, he was the former fixer / former attorney for Donald Trump, and he made allegations. One of the allegations were that Trump did allegedly pay people off, that he allegedly sexually assaulted before he won the election in 2016. And, you know, Michael Cohen, he spilled all the damn tea, all the tea. He spilled the hot coffee. So I think that's one of the things that Letitia James is going to be looking into. And when she said that she was like 60 something years old, as I was reading articles, I was like, wow, she looks really good for 60 something years old. But we're going to see what's going to happen, and we're going to see if he can or cannot run in 2024, because, you know, while he can be pardoned federally, he can't be pardoned on a state per state basis. And there's a lot of state per states that are looking into him and his businesses and what his dealings has been doing. This is going to be very interesting to see what comes forth in the future. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you'll be the first to know when I upload. Deuces. Yay!